South Florida, this is Headliners, only on CBS News Miami.
Hi there and welcome to Headliners. I'm Lauren Pastrana. A historic win for President-elect Donald Trump. One of the key voting blocs that propelled him to win the election was Hispanic voters, who are now speaking out. Hispanic voters in Miami-Dade also turning out in big numbers for Republicans here. CBS News Miami's Ted Scouten joins us from Weston with more on this conservative wave.
A Republican sweep in Miami-Dade when voters went to the polls, with some Hispanics moving to the right.
My views really haven't changed, but I have noticed in Miami there has been a huge shift. You saw how the election turned out. Yesterday it went really to the red. So
we spoke to Cuban-American voters Alexandria and Michael Beaton.
I think the left moved too far to the left, and there was a whiplash effect. There was a boomerang effect, and they've lost a lot of the people that were more center-left.
There are more Hispanics, conservative Hispanics now, than there were in 2020. Eduardo
Gamara is a professor of politics at FIU and directs the Latino Public Opinion Forum. His poll from last month shows 15.5% of Florida Latino voters switched political parties in the last year. Of that, 42% went from Democrat to Republican, while 16.5% switched from Republican to Democrat.
It's a collection of things that have contributed to moving this population to the right.
He said Republicans have had better outreach while Democrats have their work cut out, even down to things like messaging.
Do not use the term progressives, in Florida, because progressive, Fidel Castro called himself a progressive. Evo Morales in Bolivia calls himself a progressive. Nicolás Maduro calls himself a progressive.
The Beatons say Democrats simply did not address their issues.
The left is not embracing Cuban conservative values, family values.
I mean, at the end of the day, Hispanics care about what everybody cares about, which is living in a safe environment, being able to have opportunities and prosperity.
Gamara said if Democrats want to regain footing with South Florida Hispanics, they need to start working on their strategy already for 2026. In Weston, Ted Scouten, CBS News Miami.
Meanwhile, as millions of Americans celebrate President-elect Trump's big win, that sentiment not the same for supporters of Vice President Kamala Harris. She conceded the election and promised to help facilitate a peaceful transition of power. CBS News Miami's Naja Sherman has more from her supporters.
When you heard the final results, Natasha, what were the different emotions you experienced?
I was disappointed, heartbroken. It was really disheartening. I think that for me, as a young black woman in America, I was really hopeful for what the outcome of this election would be. But, when you look at the results, we really, truly were a very divided nation.
Tell me just the different emotions you've been experiencing today.
That's kind of hard to say. I'm kind of just shocked. Like I said, disappointed. Also a little bit nervous for the next 4 years, whatever that may look like.
So you're at peace about things?
Yes. Because my faith is not in Trump. My faith is in God. You know what I mean? And I believe that if we do what we're supposed to do, pray for him. He's just man, just like if the lady had won, they need our support and our prayers, so we just have to. I'm not surprised.
You're ready for the nation to come together now?
I am ready. I am ready.
Naja Sherman, CBS News Miami.
When we come back, 6 years after an FIU pedestrian bridge collapsed, killing 6 people, construction is underway to build another. We have reaction from students next.
From South Florida, this is Headliners, only on CBS News Miami.
Welcome back. I'm Lauren Pastrana. More than 6 years after a Florida International University pedestrian bridge collapsed, killing 6 people, construction has begun on a new one. CBS News Miami's Maribel Rodriguez has reaction from students and tells us what safety changes will be put in place for the new bridge.
It should be great for all the students.
Sarah LeGrand is one of hundreds of FIU students who walk across Southwest 8th Street and 109th Avenue on any given day.
So it should be helpful. There's a lot of students in this area especially, and crossing the street isn't always as safe as it seems.
She, along with many other students, are happy to hear that more than 6 years after the FIU pedestrian bridge collapsed, construction is getting started on a new bridge.
I think it would be good if, it's constructed safely, I guess.
This is what the new bridge will look like. Manny Espinal, an engineer with FDOT who is overseeing the project, says this bridge is very different from the previous one.
The previous bridge was a concrete structure. This one is a steel bridge, and it's a cable stay bridge, and the cables are there more for anything aesthetics, but it also provides an additional redundant support to the structure.
And he assures that those who travel in the area, safety is their priority.
We have a very experienced staff that's built bridges throughout all of South Florida and throughout the state. I've personally been involved in construction of over 100 bridges throughout my career at DOT.
For Sweetwater's mayor, it's about making sure this project is completed in a safe manner.
From what we've seen, working together in partnership with them, we don't see anything out of place. On the opposite, I think everything is above board.
And that is something students like Sarah and Alan are happy to hear.
There's a lot of traffic through here, and sometimes people aren't the best with driving, especially here in Miami. So, I guess it could be helpful.
And again, they do emphasize that safety is their priority. Construction started Sunday night, and their first phase is to make sure that all pedestrians and construction workers are safe. They tell us that there will be street closures, mostly at night. So if you travel in this area, do keep that in mind. They hope to finish the project by the fall of 2026. In Sweetwater, Maribel Rodriguez, CBS News, Miami.
Now that the 2024 political campaign season is behind us, robocalls and texts will be slowing down, but they aren't gone altogether. And a new report found phone companies are not doing enough to stop the pesky disruptions. CBS News Miami's Joe Gorcho takes a closer look at the problem and how you can try to stop them.
If I recognize it's a scam, I just hang out.
Like many of us, Victoria Robinson despises sifting through unknown calls and texts. However, she feels she has no choice since she's searching for a job in Fort Lauderdale.
Gotta pick up because I don't know if it might recognize as spam and it's not. Maybe it's an employee or I'm trying to find a job.
Made up as if they're professional from professional, establishments.
George Cedeno says he has over 10 spam calls daily and many unwanted texts, showing us his most recent one.
It's really frustrating. The thing is you're blocking, you're putting on silent, you're putting on all kinds of, things like that.
But the calls just keep coming. A report by the watchdog U.S. Public Interest Research Group claims more than 50% of phone companies need to do more to prevent spam calls and texts, as mandated by the FCC. The report says only 47% completed the installation of anti-robo technology. CBS News reached out to the FCC, which says it's incorrect to state most providers are not complying.
Even I have trouble blocking robocalls.
Dear customer, this voicemail is to inform you.
Except I don't have that cable provider.
Please call back on the number you see on your caller ID.
And when I did call that number,
the number you have dialed is unallocated.
So here are some steps you can take to block the spammers. Visit donotcall.gov and register your number. AT&T users can install an Active Armor mobile security app. Verizon users can also adjust spam filters to auto block and where to send block calls. And while it won't stop the call from coming in, you can always block the number that does to prevent repeat calls or texts. Even the most knowledgeable of us can fall victim to a potential texting scam.
I'm also in the IT business, that's why I'm aware a little bit. But even then, I got even myself scammed in the case, like I'm more alert, but still, I had this kind of situation.
That was CBS News Miami's Joe Gorcho reporting for us. While experts say scam calls have slightly declined since the law went into effect, scam texts are on the rise, nearly tripling this year to 19 billion per month. The FCC only adopted its first rules focused on scam texting last year. And when we come back, Christmas is right around the corner, and that means many are getting ready to start spending. We have the tips that you may want to keep handy that can save you some bucks. Next.
From South Florida, this is Headliners, only on CBS News Miami.
Welcome back. I'm Lauren Pastrana. Millions of people navigate airports every day. For some, it may be second nature, but to others, it can be intimidating. That's why Miami International Airport and American Airlines teamed up to help students with special needs reach new heights in the travel experience. CBS News Miami's Chelsea Jones has the story for us.
One by one, students across South Florida stepped up to the ticket counter in a mock airport experience.
I'm very excited.
From middle to high school, these teens got a tour of Concourse D at Miami International Airport. It's all a part of the MIA Air program for anyone with a disability to experience the magic of flying.
I learned that planes are amazing.
And that's the goal.
Have the students, learn everything about the simple things like reading the signs to just understanding the full process.
From the ticket counter with boarding passes in hand, then through security, this tour is a safe and controlled way for a test run of the airport, something many take for granted.
I think a lot of people growing up, they walk through airport without knowing or paying attention to anything. So being able to go on your own as a young adult is a very valuable experience.
That is the lesson students wanted to learn.
Maybe some more things about like airport security, how the general airport works.
Gate G21, right at this time we're getting ready to board the aircraft.
I can assure you to everyone in the world that no one has to be scared forever. It doesn't have to be forever. You can actually embrace it.
My favorite band couple of all time, guys.
And embracing it, they did. From the gate and then onto the plane, this day they won't forget.
That was Chelsea Jones reporting. The holiday is right around the corner, and experts predict spending will be at an all-time high. So now's the time to start thinking about budgeting. It could help you avoid falling into a trap. That was revealed in a recent survey of shoppers from last year. CBS News Miami's Jim Barry has the tips that may help you save money.
It's the season of giving, but if you're not careful with finances, you could be getting a hefty bill at the end of the holiday season. Experts say shopping as early as now can help you budget.
We have seen a trend over the last couple of years of consumers starting their shopping a little earlier for the winter holidays.
Catherine Cullen with the National Retail Federation says holiday spending this year is expected to hit an all-time high, with shoppers spending an average of $902 per person. About $641 going towards gifts and the rest toward food, cards, and decor. And there is some good news for shoppers this year.
We do know that in many ways, inflation has gotten better than it was last year, particularly when it comes to goods, which is great news for consumers.
A recent survey by NerdWallet found 28% of shoppers who used credit cards to buy gifts last year are still paying off that debt. So how can you make sure that you don't overspend?
The best thing to do is to really make a plan before you start spending. Ideally, we want to use our savings and not debt to fund those purchases.
NerdWallet personal finance expert Kimberly Palmer also recommends these tips. Make a list and figure out exactly how much you want to spend. Start shopping early. Talk to family and friends about expectations and possibly scaling back. And sign up for price drop alerts.
Using some kind of browser add-on like Honey or the Camelizer browser extension just to track those prices can just help make sure that you're getting the best deal possible.
That was Jim Barry, and experts also say younger generations are most likely to make impulsive purchases and noted that many of those knee-jerk buys are driven by social media ads, so maybe cut down on the screen time too. Thanks for joining us this half hour on Headliners. As always, keep it right here to CBS News Miami for up-to-the-minute breaking news and weather 24 hours a day. Make it a great one.